An
Jackson
entry
Muir
point.
wiped the
All
sweat
right,
from
let's
his
try it. Move
forehead as
carefully.
he crouched
Watch
beneath
the
the
wind.
twisted hull of a derelict mining rover. The sun barely pierced the thick, dusty clouds of the asteroid belt around Caris 7, a small planet long abandoned by most colonists. But Jackson did not come here for sunlight or comfort. He came for scraps. Metal, wires, power cells, anything he could find and sell or reuse. The belt was littered with debris, remnants of ships lost over decades of reckless expansion. Jackson's eyes, sharp from years of scavenging, scanned the field. Most pieces were useless, corroded beyond repair, but today, something caught his attention. A large shadow among the floating rocks did not match the jagged, broken shapes of old mining vessels. He approached carefully. The metal glinted strangely, darker than the dull gray of abandoned machinery. He crouched beside it and brushed away centuries of dust and frozen dirt. His heart skipped a beat. This isn't any mining ship I've seen," he murmured. The lines of the hull were elegant, almost aerodynamic. Smooth panels and strange markings hinted at old design, ancient human tech, centuries ahead of its time. Jackson circled the vessel. Sensors built into his work gloves hummed as they scanned the hull. The readings were impossible. Energy signatures faintly flickered as if the ship still had a pulse. "It can't be," Jackson whispered. "This thing, it's alive." He immediately thought of old stories. Ships lost in humanity's first wave of interstellar expansion. Hundreds of them vanished, swallowed by space. Legends spoke of one particular ship, the Haven's Light, said to have carried experimental human technology and colonists to a distant star system. Nobody had seen it for 700 years, and now here it was right before him. Jackson's hands shook with excitement. "This is it," he said almost to himself. "This is real." He set to work. Carefully, methodically, he cleared debris, tested seals, and examined the hull. The ship's surface was smooth but worn, covered in deep scratches and scars from asteroid impacts. Yet, despite the centuries, there were no cracks in its main hull. Whoever built it to last. He found the hatch. It was old-fashioned, mechanical, not like modern automated doors. He pressed against the control panel. Nothing. He tapped, twisted, and pressed again. A soft click echoed and the hatch slowly swung open. A rush of stale, cold air escaped. Inside, the ship was dark, almost empty. Dust motes danced in the weak sunlight spilling from the hatch. The interior smelled of ancient metal and circuits long dormant. Jackson's heart pounded. This is amazing," he whispered. He stepped inside carefully. Each footstep echoed across the metallic floor. Panels lined the walls, some flickering faintly, as though recognizing a human presence. Jackson ran his hands along a console. His fingers brushed against controls he had never seen before, buttons that glowed faintly, levers that hummed when touched. It was alien, yet familiar. Somehow, his instincts as a mechanic guided him. A flick of a switch here, a twist of a knob there, and tiny sparks danced across a dormant screen. The screen blinked to life. Symbols and numbers scrolled rapidly before stabilizing into a holographic map of stars. Jackson's jaw dropped. "It's a star map," he breathed. "And it's pointing somewhere." He leaned closer. The map highlighted a star system he had never heard of, tucked far beyond the charts of modern explorers. His eyes widened. This was no ordinary ship. It carried knowledge of humanity's lost past, knowledge lost for centuries. But as he marveled, a warning tone echoed softly from the ship. Jackson froze. Ancient AI, perhaps, he thought. He had heard stories, some told of ships whose systems were still active, their artificial intelligence confused, defensive, even dangerous. "Easy, easy," he whispered. "I'm not here to hurt you." He stepped deeper into the ship. Every movement revealed more wonders. Panels slid open to reveal tiny repair drones, long dormant, their cameras blinking faintly. They swarmed around him, scanning, recognizing. They seemed friendly. Jackson laughed softly, a mix of relief and disbelief. You're not dead, you're just waiting. He spent hours exploring. In a side compartment, he found storage bays filled with crates of parts, ancient power cells, and supplies that should have long decayed. Every corner of the ship whispered secrets of a human era long forgotten. By the time Jackson emerged from the ship for air, the Karis 7 sun was low, casting long shadows across the asteroid belt. He leaned against the hatch and took a deep breath. His mind raced. "This changes everything," he muttered. "If anyone finds out about this." He knew the authorities would not be pleased. Old ships often drew attention, and scavengers were rarely kind. But more than fear, Jackson felt a surge of purpose. He had been a mechanic all his life, fixing rovers and ships no one else wanted to touch. Now, he had the chance to bring history back to life. He set up a temporary workspace nearby. Using salvaged equipment, he ran diagnostics on the ship. Its systems were advanced, older than anything he had ever seen, yet somehow compatible with human engineering logic. Jackson's hands moved automatically, adjusting circuits, rerouting power, and stabilizing systems. Hours passed. The first night fell. Stars sparkled above Karis 7, distant suns and forgotten colonies glowing faintly. Inside the ship, lights flickered on, tiny drones buzzed softly, and panels displayed unreadable but mesmerizing streams of data. Then, something unexpected happened. A soft hum resonated from deep within the ship. Jackson froze. It wasn't the hum of machinery, it was a heartbeat of something else, something alive. The AI, or whatever remained of it, was awakening. And with its awakening, so was the ship's hidden purpose. Jackson felt a shiver. He had uncovered a treasure far greater than metal or circuits. Somewhere inside this ship lay secrets that could rewrite humanity's forgotten history. He didn't know it yet, but the first step of a journey spanning centuries had begun. As he sat against the hull, exhausted but exhilarated, he whispered, "I don't even know what you're hiding, but I'm going to find out." Unbeknownst to him, the ship had already recognized him. Its systems, ancient yet sentient in some way, began recording, mapping, and analyzing. Every movement, every touch of Jackson's hands, every decision he made was being logged. The ship's memory, fragmented after centuries, stirred with a flicker of recognition. A human mechanic, one of its own kind, had come home. Jackson did not sleep that night. He could not. The possibilities were too vast, too extraordinary. He studied the star map again, tracing fingers over unknown worlds. Somewhere out there, humanity had sent its dreams 700 years ago. Somewhere, someone had been waiting to be found. The first step was simple: understand the ship. But Jackson had no idea that this first step would soon carry him across uncharted space, into conflicts, discoveries, and truths that no human alive had ever known. Above him, the stars of Karis 7 twinkled silently. Below him, the heartbeat of a lost ship whispered, ready to reveal the stories of a forgotten age. And in that moment, one human mechanic, humble and unaware, became the first link in a chain that could change the course of history forever. Jackson had barely slept. The night on Karis 7 had been long, silent, and cold, yet filled with the faint hum of the ancient ship beside him. Its systems, long dormant, had recognized his presence as friendly. Small drones moved along the hull, scanning, repairing, and silently acknowledging him. For Jackson, this was like nothing he had ever experienced. He was no explorer, no soldier, just a mechanic. Yet here he was, standing at the threshold of a discovery that could change the understanding of human history. He ran his fingers across the ship's console again. Symbols and charts danced on the screens, moving too fast for him to read at first. Slowly, as his mind adjusted to the rhythm, patterns emerged. The ship's systems, though ancient, were based on logic humans could understand. He smiled. "Of course," he muttered. "This makes sense, in a weird, old way." Hours passed as Jackson familiarized himself with the ship. He discovered dormant drones in storage bays, small repair units designed to maintain the vessel in space for centuries. When he activated them, they whirred to life, lights blinking softly. He watched in awe as they floated around him, repairing minor damages, oiling joints, and cleaning dusty panels. It was like watching the ship care for itself, but only because it recognized him. "This is incredible," he said. All of you, you're still alive after all this time." But as he explored further, he realized the ship was not just alive, it was aware. Screens flashed with messages he couldn't fully decipher, images of people he did not recognize, and schematics of machinery beyond contemporary design. The ship was a vault, storing centuries of lost human knowledge. Jackson's mind raced. He thought of the legends of humanity's lost colonies, of experimental ships sent to distant stars with technology meant to advance civilization. He had never believed the stories, until now. In a small chamber, he found something that made him stop cold. It was a stasis pod perfectly preserved. The glass dome was opaque at first, but when he touched the control panel, it cleared. Inside lay a figure, human, seemingly asleep, untouched by time. Jackson's breath caught. "Who?" he whispered. The ship responded with a soft, melodic hum, as if acknowledging the question. A flicker of light revealed a plaque. Subject: Human colony pioneer status preserved. He staggered back. A human, alive for centuries in suspended animation, preserved for a purpose long forgotten. The implications were staggering. Whoever had built this ship had intended it as more than a vessel. It was a guardian, a protector, and a carrier of secrets. Jackson knelt beside the pod, tracing the glass with his fingers. I can't believe it. This is amazing." A sudden noise startled him. The ship's AI, fragmented but active, began communicating. A soft voice, mechanical yet almost human in tone, spoke from the walls. "Authorized operator detected. Access granted. Welcome, Jackson Muir." Jackson froze. His mouth opened, but no words came. "Why, you know my name?" he stammered. "Yes, your presence was predicted," the AI replied. Screens around him illuminated, showing fragmented logs of previous missions. "You are the first human to reactivate this vessel in 7 centuries. Your skills are compatible with ship systems." Jackson laughed nervously, a mix of pride and disbelief. "Compatible? I'm just a mechanic. I fix engines, not whatever this is." "Your ingenuity exceeds expectations. Proceed with exploration." Warning: ship carries sensitive historical records. Unauthorized access by others may result in conflict. Conflict. The word hung in the air. Jackson's mind flashed to scavengers, rival miners, even government forces. If news of this ship reached the wrong people, it would become a target. He had to be careful. He spent the next hours exploring deeper compartments, discovering storage areas filled with ancient supplies, spare parts, and logs of human colonies lost to time. He traced circuits, adjusted power flows, and reactivated minor systems. Every action made him feel more connected to the ship, more capable. The AI, still cautious, began to provide guidance. These systems were designed for human operators of advanced skill. "Your intuition is compatible. Proceed." Jackson smiled wryly. "Compatible, huh? Guess my years of fixing broken rovers finally paid off." As he worked, he discovered a small lab aboard the ship. Vials, containers, and devices of unknown function lined the walls. Most were long inactive, but some blinked faintly, powered by the ship's residual energy. He examined a holographic display showing chemical compounds, biological experiments, and engineering designs far beyond current human technology. "This is centuries ahead," he whispered. They were trying to build something better, smarter, faster. Hours blurred into one another. Jackson lost track of time as he moved between compartments, learning the ship's systems, repairing what he could, and trying to make sense of the fragments of data. He realized the ship was a message in itself, a bridge between humanity's past and present. Late in the Chorus 7 night, the first challenge arrived. Sensors picked up movement outside the ship. Shadows flitted across the dusty plains. Human scavengers. They had likely noticed his activity. Jackson's heart raced. He ducked inside a maintenance shaft and observed through a small viewport. Two figures approached the ship, scanning with handheld sensors. He knew they would not hesitate to take the ship by force if they discovered it. Thinking quickly, he activated the ship's defensive systems. Lights flashed, mechanical sounds filled the corridors, and drones activated, forming a perimeter around the main hatch. The scavengers froze, then retreated when a warning tone blared. Jackson exhaled slowly. "That was close," he muttered. "Too close." The AI spoke softly, almost in sympathy. "Human threats detected, protective protocols engaged, minimal damage ensured." Jackson nodded, feeling a strange bond forming with the ship. It was no longer just a machine. It was a partner, a silent guardian, and now a companion in the adventure that lay ahead. The next morning he focused on the star map. Unlike any modern navigation system, it displayed stars, planets, and routes long forgotten. One system in particular glowed brighter than the others, a destination far beyond known human charts. The AI responded when he touched the projection. Destination confirmed. Coordinates lead to a lost human colony. Unknown status. Historical significance, critical. Jackson's pulse quickened. A lost colony, could it be real? Could humans have survived all these centuries in isolation? The thought was thrilling and terrifying. Yet the AI offered no further guidance. It awaited him to make decisions. It depended on his judgment. And somehow that responsibility did not scare him. It inspired him. "I have to find it," he said aloud. "I have to see this, wherever it is." He spent the next few days preparing. Using salvaged equipment and ship systems, he tested propulsion, power cores, and navigation protocols. The ship responded well, almost as if it had been waiting for him all along. Every system he repaired, every circuit he restored, brought the ship closer to life. One night, while reviewing logs in the lab, Jackson discovered the last secret of the AI's memory. A holographic image appeared, showing a young woman, the colonist in the stasis pod. She smiled, calm and serene, as though she were aware of the centuries ahead. The AI displayed a message: subject preserved for awakening by one capable and worthy. Jackson felt a shiver run down his spine. The ship had chosen him, not just to repair it, but to protect a fragment of humanity lost to time. The realization was overwhelming. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was the key to a mystery spanning centuries, a bridge between human history and the future. As dawn broke over Chorus 7, Jackson stood on the hull of the ancient ship, looking out over the asteroid field. He knew the road ahead would be dangerous. Rival factions would come, unknown perils awaited, and the ship itself held secrets that could change the balance of power. But for the first time in his life, he felt a sense of purpose deeper than anything he had known. He was part of something bigger than himself, something that could remind humanity of its greatness, ingenuity, and courage. And as the ship hummed softly beneath his hands, Jackson whispered, "Let's see what you've been hiding all these years." The journey had begun. The past was awakening, and humanity, through one mechanic on a remote asteroid, was about to reclaim a piece of its forgotten glory. The morning sun rose over Chorus 7, casting a pale light across the dusty asteroid field. Jackson Muir stood on the hull of the ancient ship, surveying the landscape. The thrill of discovery still pulsed in his veins, but unease had begun to settle alongside it. He had seen the stares of scavengers, the faint traces of unknown technology in the ship's logs, and now, with every new system he activated, a feeling of anticipation grew. Something was waiting to be revealed, something big. Inside the ship, the AI pulsed softly, screens illuminating the dark interior like a heartbeat. Jackson had spent hours learning to communicate with it, understanding fragments of data and repairing systems long dormant. The AI had slowly begun to open to him, responding to his curiosity, his mechanical skill, and above all, his human intuition. "Operator," the AI spoke in its soft, melodic tone, "critical information is available. Historical records indicate your presence is required for activation of restricted files." Jackson approached the console, heart racing. "Restricted files? What kind of secrets are we talking about?" "Sensitive," the AI replied. "Data relates to humanity's lost colonies and experimental projects. Risk of conflict is high if discovered by external parties." Jackson's mind whirled. Lost colonies, experimental projects. Could this ship really be the key to centuries of forgotten human history? He tapped a sequence on the console, and a holographic display sprang to life. Images, logs, and star maps unfolded before him. A name appeared repeatedly: Haven's Light. This was the ship the legends had whispered about for centuries. It had carried humans into uncharted space, far beyond the reach of early colonists. Its mission, as far as Jackson could piece together, was to deliver supplies, knowledge, and technology to a distant human colony, one that had vanished from history. The realization hit him hard. So the colony wasn't destroyed, it just disappeared from records. "Affirmative," the AI replied. "Records were erased to protect sensitive knowledge. Some factions feared misuse of technology and human expansion." Jackson took a deep breath. "And now it's all coming back." Hours passed as he combed through the AI's fragmented logs. The ship's memory, though incomplete, revealed astonishing details. It had been built as a guardian, capable of surviving centuries in space, protecting human life, and preserving knowledge that could reshape civilizations. It had traveled through unknown star systems, avoiding detection and carrying a colonist in stasis, the very person whose lineage Jackson would soon learn he was connected to. A soft hum echoed through the hull as the ship continued to activate systems. Jackson felt a sense of awe and responsibility. This was no ordinary discovery. The ship had chosen him, relying on his skills, intuition, and courage. Humanity, through centuries of lost knowledge, had left him a challenge, but he was not alone in the asteroid field. Sensors detected movement beyond Kara's 7 thin atmosphere, ships human but not friendly. They were scavengers, corporate raiders, and perhaps even government agents who had caught wind of the discovery. Jackson's heart raced. "They're coming," he muttered. "I need to be ready." The AI responded immediately. "Threat detected. Defensive systems ready. Operator discretion required." For the next few hours, Jackson worked frantically. He repaired damaged turrets, recalibrated drones, and rigged emergency shields using the ship's ancient energy cores. His hands moved automatically, guided by experience and instinct. Every adjustment, every tweak, demonstrated human ingenuity in its purest form. The ability to adapt, solve problems, and overcome obstacles no machine or AI could fully anticipate. By evening, the first hostile ship appeared over the horizon. Sleek and heavily armed, it glided silently toward Kara's 7, scanning for signatures. Jackson felt his chest tighten but did not panic. He knew he had the advantage of surprise and intimate knowledge of the ancient vessel. "Operator," the AI spoke, "threats approaching. Recommend immediate readiness and evasive protocols." Jackson nodded. "Understood. Let's show them what humans can do." He activated the ship's propulsion systems. Though centuries old, the engines roared to life, sending vibrations through the hull. Small drones buzzed around, ready to intercept intruders. Lights flashed, signaling the ship's awakening to all who dared approach. The first hostile craft fired, sending a blast that struck the asteroid surface nearby. Dust and rock exploded into the void, but the ship remained unharmed. Jackson's fingers danced across the controls, rerouting energy to shields, diverting power to auxiliary systems, and launching drones to intercept. The raiders expected an easy target, a derelict ship in a remote asteroid field. They did not expect the ancient vessel to respond, let alone defend itself with precision. Jackson smiled. "Guess you underestimated humans," he muttered. Drones swarmed the attackers, firing energy pulses that disrupted sensors and shields. The raiders scrambled, realizing the ship was far more advanced than they had anticipated. Jackson guided the vessel into an asteroid cluster, weaving expertly through the debris. The hostile ships followed, but the AI provided continuous calculations, predicting movements and assisting him. In the midst of the chaos, a new revelation arrived. While analyzing navigation logs, Jackson discovered a hidden compartment deep in the ship's core. Accessing it revealed encrypted messages from the original captain of Haven's Light. The messages described the purpose of the mission: to safeguard human knowledge and a select colony until a worthy operator could awaken them. Jackson's pulse quickened. The stasis pod, the AI, the advanced systems, all were part of a deliberate plan. Humanity, long before his time, had anticipated a future where one person could reconnect with the lost legacy. This was meant for me," he whispered, disbelief and wonder in his voice. "Yes," the AI confirmed. "You have proven compatible. Access to colony activation protocols granted upon arrival." Jackson felt a mix of pride and responsibility. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was the custodian of humanity's lost history, the bridge between centuries. His ingenuity, courage, and curiosity had brought him here, but the threats remained. More hostile ships arrived, larger and more aggressive. Jackson had to act fast. Using knowledge gained from the AI, he initiated evasive maneuvers, guiding the ship through narrow asteroid tunnels. The raiders fired relentlessly, but the ship's agility, combined with Jackson's human intuition, allowed them to avoid critical damage. The AI spoke, calm and measured. "Operator, the colony's coordinates are reachable. Minimal engagement advised to preserve resources." Jackson nodded. "Understood. Let's move." He piloted the ship with precision, weaving through asteroid clusters and debris fields. The hostile ships struggled to follow, their larger frames and outdated systems unable to match the maneuverability of the ancient vessel. Jackson's confidence grew with every successful evasion, every calculated move. Finally, after hours of tense pursuit, the last raider retreated. Jackson exhaled deeply, his hands trembling but steady. "That was too close," he muttered, "too close by centuries." The AI responded. "Operator performance exceeds expectations. Mission parameters still valid. Colony coordinates reachable." Jackson turned to the stasis pod. Inside, the preserved colonist lay still, unaware of the centuries that had passed. He felt a surge of determination. Whoever this person was, they represented a piece of humanity lost to time. Protecting them, awakening them, and ensuring their mission continued was now his responsibility. He activated the ship's navigation systems fully. The star map illuminated the route to the lost colony, a hidden system far beyond modern exploration. Jackson studied the coordinates carefully, memorizing the path. He knew the journey would be long and dangerous, but he also knew that humanity's resilience, ingenuity, and courage would guide him. "This is it," he whispered. "The path to the past and to the future." The AI's soft hum resonated through the hull. "Operator, final preparations recommended. Colony activation protocols await. Estimated travel time, extended due to manual navigation." Jackson nodded. He spent the next hours performing final checks, repairing minor systems, and ensuring the stasis pod remained stable. Every movement, every adjustment, reflected human adaptability and skill. As the stars of Caris 7 twinkled outside, Jackson reflected on the journey so far. In just a few days, he had awakened a ship long lost to time, discovered a preserved human colonist, defended against hostile forces, and uncovered secrets that could reshape human history. And yet, the journey had only just begun. With the ship fully operational, the AI fully active, and the stasis pod secure, Jackson prepared for the leap into deep space. His heart raced with excitement, fear, and determination. The lost colony awaited, a hidden chapter of humanity's past ready to be rediscovered. He took a deep breath and whispered, "Let's go find our history." The engines roared to life, ancient yet powerful. The ship lifted from Kara's 7 dusty surface, gliding past the asteroid belt. The stars stretched ahead, infinite and uncharted. And in that moment, Jackson Muir, human mechanic and unlikely hero, became the bridge between centuries, ready to uncover humanity's forgotten legacy. The past had awakened. The journey toward the lost colony had begun. And humanity, through one mechanic, one ship, and one preserved colonist, was about to reclaim its forgotten glory. Jackson Muir gripped the console tightly as the ancient ship surged into deep space. The engines, powerful and long dormant, hummed steadily, carrying him toward the coordinates of the lost colony. Stars stretched endlessly ahead, uncharted and full of mystery. For centuries, humanity had forgotten this path, but Jackson was determined to reclaim it. The ship's AI flickered around him, monitoring every system, every thruster adjustment, and every course correction. Its voice, soft and melodic, reminded him, "Operator, final approach to colony system estimated in 30 standard hours. Threat detection ongoing. Recommend vigilance." Jackson exhaled. 30 hours might have seemed simple, but he knew better. Space was unpredictable, and the longer the journey, the higher the chance of encountering hostile forces. He had already seen what greed and ambition could do. Still, he was ready. Human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability had carried him this far, and they would carry him further. Hours passed as he navigated the ship through asteroid fields, minor gravitational anomalies, and radiation pockets. The AI's calculations were precise, but Jackson relied on instinct, intuition, and his experience as a mechanic. Every adjustment was a collaboration between human and machine. Suddenly, the sensors beeped urgently. "Multiple unknown signatures detected," the AI announced. Jackson's eyes narrowed. "Show me." On the main display, several ships appeared, sleek and heavily armed, approaching rapidly. These were not scavengers. They were well-equipped, experienced, and dangerous. They had tracked him across light years, drawn by the ship's reactivation. "They know," Jackson muttered. "They know what I found." The AI's lights flickered. "Operator, engagement protocols recommended. Probability of evasion is 53% without countermeasures." Jackson's jaw tightened. "We can do better than that." He began activating the ship's defensive systems. Ancient turrets powered on, energy shields rose, and repair drones zipped across the hull, ready to respond to damage. But Jackson knew brute force alone would not win this battle. Strategy, speed, and ingenuity were the human edge. He guided the ship into a dense asteroid cluster, twisting and turning with precision. The pursuing ships struggled to follow, their sensors disrupted by the irregular movements of the ancient vessel. Jackson smiled grimly. "Humans always find a way," he muttered. As he maneuvered, he discovered a hidden energy conduit in the ship's core. A risky move, but he rerouted additional power to the shields and turrets, doubling their output. Sparks flew across the console, but the ship responded beautifully, almost as if it had been waiting for this very moment. The hostile ships fired. Blasts struck nearby asteroids, causing them to explode in showers of rock and dust. The ancient vessel shuddered, but Jackson's steady hands kept control. Drones swarmed the attackers, disrupting their targeting systems, and the turrets fired back with pinpoint accuracy. Hours felt like minutes. Jackson's focus was absolute. Every maneuver, every calculation, every instinct counted. The enemy ships began to retreat, recognizing the futility of their assault. Jackson allowed himself a brief nod of satisfaction. Humanity had prevailed, not through raw firepower, but through ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. Once the immediate threat passed, Jackson turned to the stasis pod. The colonists lay still, untouched by time, yet their importance was clear. The AI spoke gently. "Operator, colony activation protocols require the awakening of preserved personnel. Recommended action, immediate." Jackson's fingers hovered over the controls. This was the moment the ship had been waiting for, the moment humanity's lost legacy would return. He took a deep breath and activated the awakening sequence. The pod hissed softly as energy flowed through its systems. Lights shimmered and a faint glow illuminated the interior. Slowly, the colonists' eyes opened. They blinked, confused at first, taking in the surroundings. Jackson stepped back, allowing the ancient human to regain composure. "Welcome back," he said softly. "You've been asleep for a long time." The colonists' eyes widened, recognizing the ship, the AI, and surprisingly Jackson. A flicker of understanding passed between them. The AI spoke. "Operator is descendant of original mission lineage. Connection confirmed. Activation successful." Jackson felt a strange warmth. The colonist, this human preserved for centuries, was not just a person. They were a symbol, a living link between humanity's past and present. The mission of the Haven's Light was complete, and its legacy was now in his hands. Over the next hours, Jackson worked with the colonists to understand the full scope of the ship's purpose. Ancient data logs, once encrypted and fragmented, now revealed the lost colony's location, resources, and technology. It was a treasure trove of knowledge, capable of reshaping humanity's understanding of itself. "We can rebuild," the colonists said softly, awe in their voice. "We can restore what was lost," Jackson nodded. "Yes, and we'll do it carefully, step by step. But first we need to ensure this ship and its knowledge stays safe." The AI chimed in. "Operator, external threats remain a possibility. Recommend stealth approach to colony system. Activation of hidden pathways advised." Jackson piloted the ship carefully, using ancient navigation routes hidden from modern charts. The stars stretched endlessly, guiding them to the lost colony. Every maneuver reflected human skill and intuition, enhanced by the AI's precise calculations. Finally, after days of travel and cautious navigation, the colony system appeared on the horizon. A cluster of planets, untouched and pristine, glimmered like jewels in the void. The lost colony's signature was strong: life support systems, habitat structures, and energy grids all functioning, preserved in isolation. Jackson's heart raced. "We found it," he whispered. "We really found it." The AI confirmed. "Colony located, systems operational. Human presence minimal, awaiting activation." Jackson smiled. Humanity's lost chapter was ready to be restored. The colonists stepped forward, looking at their home with reverence. "This is our future," they said softly, "and now it can continue." The arrival was not without challenge. The colony's automated defenses, long dormant, initially reacted to the ship's presence. But Jackson, with his mechanical expertise and the colonists' guidance, quickly neutralized the systems. They worked together, demonstrating human adaptability, courage, and teamwork. As the colony systems came online fully, life support activated, energy grids hummed, and the once silent habitats lit up. The lost colony, forgotten by time, had returned to the present. Jackson felt a deep sense of satisfaction. What had started as a simple discovery, a 700-year-old ship buried in an asteroid field, had grown into a mission that connected centuries, preserved human knowledge, and restored a lost civilization. The AI spoke once more, its voice almost reverent. "Operator, mission parameters complete. Human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability confirmed. Legacy restored." Jackson looked at the stars, the colony, and the ship. He felt a profound connection to humanity's past, present, and future. This was more than a mechanical achievement. It was proof of what humans could achieve when curiosity, courage, and intelligence guided them. "We did it," he whispered to the colonist. "We really did it." The colonist smiled, a mix of relief and wonder, and humanity can continue stronger than ever. Jackson stepped outside onto the hull of the ship, watching the stars stretch infinitely. He felt a warmth in his chest, a pride not in himself alone, but in humanity as a whole. One human mechanic, guided by instinct, courage, and intellect, had awakened history. One ship, lost for centuries, had returned with its secrets intact. One colonist, preserved in stasis, had brought humanity's past into the present. The universe was vast, full of dangers and mysteries, but one truth remained. Humans, with their resilience, ingenuity, and unyielding spirit, could overcome anything. And through them, the legacy of generations, forgotten, hidden, or lost, could shine again. Jackson Muir looked at the stars, the ship, and the colony, knowing that this was only the beginning. Humanity had reclaimed a piece of its history, and now the future was theirs to shape. Above him, the stars twinkled like witnesses to human triumph. Below him, the ancient ship hummed, alive and proud, a testament to what one human with courage and skill could accomplish. And in that moment, Jackson understood the truth. The past was never truly lost. Humanity, through its ingenuity, spirit, and determination, could always rise again. The lost colony had returned. The ship had awakened. And humanity, through one mechanic, one ship, and one preserved colonist, had reclaimed its forgotten glory. The adventure was complete, but the story of human triumph, resilience, and ingenuity would echo through the stars forever.